get started with Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. We have mics on both sides of the room, so just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you.
Hi, Barry.
We'll start with Kirsten down here in the front.
Dave, I know you've talked about how this past week you've seen a different type of intensity from your players. When you look at, and when you say that, what really stood out to you, just whether performance-wise from the guys this week or preparation-wise?
I think, yeah, it's a great question. I think I've just seen, I guess it's part of being in playoff mode for the last month and narrowing our focus, playing 27 outs, you know, being mindful of bases and how we go about each night. It's raised our level of play. And, you know, there's a lot of talk about other ball clubs, and, you know, you sort of layer that in with how it's been the last couple of years for us. I think that there's some intensity, some want to, you know, pay some people back and show how good we are. And I like that. I like that feeling and that's resonating in our clubhouse.
Freddie Freeman, how is he doing today? How did he come out of the sim game yesterday? I know he was just taking at bats, but just what kind of step forward was that for him?
It was a good step forward. He's working down below with some arms down there. He took some live at bats. He'll go through his full workout today. So I'm hopeful that, I mean, I'm expecting him to be in the lineup. What that looks like, I guess we'll know when we see him out there. But with Freddie, I don't doubt that he'll be ready to go.
We'll go to Fabian standing up on the right.
Yeah, Dave, with Freddie, do you need to see him run the bases, play first base to sort of feel comfortable starting him out there game one?
He's going to do that today. I think it'll be helpful. I think it'll be helpful for him too. I think for him, just making sure it's a net positive today as far as how he feels and comes at it today is most important, and then get to tomorrow. So I just really don't think that there's any decision that's going to be made today or needs to be. And so tomorrow, as we get into the day and kind of see where he's at. But again, I'm still optimistic.
And with Yamamoto, you guys have pointed a lot to that Yankee Stadium start, sort of like a sort of milestone for him to be able to handle this kind of moment. What do you remember about that night, and what do you think he sort of maybe gained confidence-wise from being able to have that kind of night?
I think that was probably, you know, once he got his feet under him, I think that was, and I think I point to that because that at that point in time, I think the Yankees were probably playing the best out of anyone in baseball, and to go to that ballpark, which is certainly a storied stadium, even the new one, but it was just kind of an opportunity for him to kind of, and for us to see how he was going to respond on that stage. And I thought he threw his best baseball game of the year, and he's still seasoned as far as pitching in big ball games, so I'm really confident in the talent. I think the heartbeat's going to be fine in his first playoff game.
Go to Kevin standing up on the left side.
Hey Dave, you're kind of uniquely qualified to talk about the progress of the Padres, even from the time they got good, because it's you that they see every time they get to the playoffs. The growth from, say, that 2020 series in Texas.
I think with San Diego, yeah, I've seen it. I think there's the core, Manny, Cronenworth, obviously, you know, Musgrove, who's hurt now. But I just think that there's a confidence. Tatis, obviously. They've won some big ball games. They've always known they're talented, and they finally learned how to win. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I was there when they weren't so good and when they were good. And so it's obviously, it's a talented, it's a fun group to watch. It's going to be a fun series, yeah.
I did want to ask you about Joe. Obviously, you've seen him recently, you've seen him a lot, and it just, when you hear devastating news like that about a good pitcher and a guy that you know, what are your thoughts?
It's a bummer. Joe is not only a good pitcher, he's a great guy, fantastic guy. And you never want to see that to anyone. It's unfortunate. It's rampant in our game. And so to be at the 1 yard line, and as far as in this series, and for him to not be a part of it, it sucks. And I feel for him.
Go to the second row on the right.
Hey, Dave. Recent history, even though you just played 156 games, you just played the Padres last week. What did you learn, if anything, from your team out of that series? And is there anything that you guys can draw from winning that series?
I really didn't. I mean, I think there's a few series that you can point back to that, you know, you got to bow your neck. You got to find a way to win a baseball game, win a series. That was one of them, and I just know that there's toughness, and I just think that for me it was obviously a big series. We won a series at home, but this is a team that's coming out of a postseason series that we've got to, you know, get it in gear from the outset. And in a short series, things happen quickly, and so we've got to be ready again from the outset. And if we can do that, I really like where we're going to be at.
Let's go to Jack in the third row. To the middle.
Just to clarify with Freddie, when you talk about being confident he'll be in the lineup, is that the starting lineup at first base, or is it just kind of being available for you guys?
Starting lineup. I expect him to be our first baseman.
And if he's not, like, do you think there's still a chance he could be available in a pinch hit role?
Yes. If he's not, which I'm really don't even want to let my mind go there, it would be certainly on the roster. You know, Munch would be at first base, Kiki would be at third, something like that.
And then with Yamamoto and Flaherty, did something change the last couple of days to lead to that flip, or is that just kind of looking at the schedule of the series and what made the most sense for your guys' pitching plan?
Looking at the schedule, the series, opponent, kind of thinking about the potential of Game 5 and having both available, just kind of giving you optionality to kind of see how things play out.
Let's go to David on the right side, third row.
Dave, justifiably, the first three guys in your lineup have been talked about a lot, but they're not the only ones. And I specifically wanted to ask about Teoscar. He made a name for himself in All-Star game, but can you talk about what he's brought to this club this year?
Man, Teoscar is what has he brought? I think certainly his availability has been next level. I think he's played in every game but a few, and you know, one was the passing of his father, or grandfather, and the consistency of mind. He's a pro. He's not afraid to fail, which I love. He's played in big ball games, wants to be in the spot, can get a big hit. He's just very consistent of mind each day, which is very refreshing for me. But everything I heard about him, he's exceeded that, you know, seeing him on a daily basis.
And just one more thing. Is there any update on Miguel?
I think Miggy Rowe is just going to be status quo in the sense that he's better than he was a week ago. And I think where he's at is where he has been all year long. So it's not 100%. It's something he's going to have to deal with, and he's not about to miss this series.
Let's go to Eldon in front, and then we'll go to Barry.
Hey Dave, Brandon Gomes said recently, and I hope I'm characterizing this the right way, but that rather than basically playing sim games every day during your bye week leading up to the DS, it's going to be more of a progression to intensity going into the series. How did you guys arrive at that decision, and why do you think that might be the better way?
Yeah, you know, it's true, and I don't know the right answer. I guess it's more of, with 5 days off, it starts to get a little monotonous when you're trying to have sim games every day to quote unquote keep guys sharp. And so if you give guys, you know, a day off and then an optional, to have them potentially wanting to come back for more. And 3 days is plenty of kind of ramp up and build up. You're going to get plenty of at-bats. Pitchers, you only have so many pitchers to use that can throw. So I think that was sort of the mindset. Again, you know, you can do different things, but I think in our world we all understand that if you win, it's the right decision. So I don't know. Our players feel good about it. I feel good about the headspace, the eagerness to play in this series. So so we'll see.
Barry.
Hey, Doc.
Hi, Barry.
So a lot has been made about Shohei playing his first MLB playoff game, but this guy, he won a Japan title pitching in Tokyo. He struck out Trout to win the World Baseball Classic, one of the greatest moments in international baseball history. I mean, this is not going to be as much of a big deal as it might be for somebody else. But what does he add to you, the fact that you have him in the lineup this year and you haven't had him the past few?
What does he add? A crazy talented ball player. I mean, he's the most talented hitter on the field. He can change the game in a lot of different ways. And so, you know, even if he were to get on base by way of walk, he can steal a base. He can score from first. He can hit a homer. He's shown the ability in this last month to use the whole field to get a hit if he needs to. He can drive in runs. So that's what we're getting. I agree with you in the sense that he's played in a lot of big ball games, and I think it's more for us as fans to see that it's something that's new to him, to see how it plays out. But if there's any person I feel that's going to be able to handle this, it's certainly Shohei. But yeah, I think that he just brings a next level megastar to our ball club.
So really, in everything and you just described, this is a guy who rises to the occasion, and you don't expect him to do anything else.
I don't. I really don't. I think that he understands the talent behind him. He can't do it all on his own. He's just got to continue to take good at bats and play the game to win. And if he does that, then it's up to all of us.
Claudia.
Hi, Dave. These games are obviously very competitive with a division rival. It's the vibe of your clubhouse right now, including yourself, unfinished business.
Absolutely. I like that. I think unfinished business is something that resonates with our guys. Like I said, I talk about it, but we got to go out there and be about it. Talk about the edge, the fight, and but I really do feel that's the mindset that we're coming into. It's an edgy group right now, which I think is a good thing.
Anything else for Dave? All right, Dave, thanks for coming in. We'll see you
Thanks,
tomorrow.
guys. Yep, you got it.
All right, we'll get started with Shohei. We'll do about 7 to 8 minutes in English, and then we'll shift over to Japanese. So English questions first. We'll start with Kirsten up here in the front.
Shohei, you've obviously been in big games and big situations, but this is going to be your first MLB postseason. When you think about just your experience, whether it's World Baseball Classic, how do you think that has allowed just preparing you for the stage of tomorrow and the stage of this month?
まあ大事な試合とかには経験していると思いますけども、WBC とか、経験されてて、今回初のポストシーズンというところで、どういう気持ち、どうやって準備されているのかと。
初めてなので、ちょっとそこに関しては、また WBC とも違うのかなと思いますし、1週間ぐらい空いているので、まずはその第一打席、しっかりと大事にして入りたいなと思っています。
I do think that the postseason is going to be different from the World Baseball Classic, considering that we did have a week off. So, doing my best that I can to make sure my first at bat is really good.
What did this week look like for you specifically?
この1週間、どのような準備、どういう期間でしたか？
基本は球場に来て、動いて、守備ゲームをして、2打席ぐらいですか、1日に2打席ぐらい経って、実践の感覚をしっかりと忘れないように。
I came to the ballpark every day. We had just moved my body around, did some sim games, and took roughly about 2 at-bats per day to make sure that I'm game ready.
Go to Jack, standing on the left.
Are you nervous at all for just playing in the postseason for the first time?
Nope.
And just with Freddie battling an injury in the pitching where it's at, like how much responsibility do you feel to kind of make sure that the offense produces at the level you guys might need to be successful here?
怪我人がなんかフレディとかピッチングの怪我がなっている中、十分なその打線の得点力っていうのは、どうやって確保するんですかねと。
みんなシーズンの疲れはもちろんあると思いますし、逆に言えばその1週間、今までの1週間で多少疲れという意味では取れてると思うので、あとはさっき言っている実践の感覚っていうのが一番大事かなと思うので、そこさえしっかり養えてれば必ず結果は出るんじゃないかなと、みんなそうじゃないかなと思います。
And this week we did spend a time just to make sure that we were taking care of our body with the accumulation of the season and I think we were able to get some of the kinks out of the way. And the most important part is just making sure that we're getting live at bats and that we're ready to play and basically hit off live pitching.
Second row on the right.
Shohei, obviously you were not here the last 2 years for the playoff disappointment that your teammates went through. Have you noticed a different vibe in the clubhouse now that the regular season is over, heading into this playoff series?
この2年間プレーオフで屈辱を味わってその雰囲気っていうのは多分感じていないと思うんですけども、今回のそのクラブハウスチームの雰囲気っていうのはどういう感じですかね。
まあもちろん地区のそのライバルチームが相手だっていうのもありますし、みんなそのパドレスが相手だっていうのもあると思うので、まあ今はみんな興奮している状態じゃないかなと思いますし、まあ今日の過ごし方がやっぱり一番大事だなと思うので、まあ明日に向けていい練習にしたいなとはみんな思ってるんじゃないかなと思います。
I'm sure there's a bigger hype and excitement playing against the division rival. And I think today is going to be a really important day as a team to make sure that we're just preparing the best that we can to play tomorrow.
Fabian.
Yeah, Shohei, to Jack's question, I mean, why do you think you're not nervous? Is there anything that you've done before big games or big moments in your career that maybe helps you not really feel the nerves of something that would probably make other people nervous?
緊張しない理由、大事な場面でもしっかり残している理由、その要素、どこにありますか。
まあそのためにやっぱり小さい頃から練習してきてますし、こういう舞台でプレーしたいっていう思いでまあやってきてはいるので、まあそこが一番やっぱりその楽しみだなっていう方がどちらかというと今大きいですかね。
It's always been my childhood dream to be able to be in important situation, to play in important games. So I think the excitement of that is greater than anything else that I could possibly feel.
Are there any memories that you really have watching postseasons the last couple of years or growing up that really stand out in your mind that maybe you want to sort of be in those moments?
この数年、過去数年間か、ポストシーズンっていう見てての思い出とか何かありますか。
まあドジャースが優勝した時も見てましたし、あの時はまあシアトルでちょっと違うところで練習しながら見てたのでそれも覚えてますし、まあ手術明けで病室で見てたのも覚えてますし、まあやっぱ悔しい思いの方が強いかなとは思いますね。
I do remember watching the Dodgers win the World Series, and at that time I was in Seattle working out. I do remember watching postseason games after coming out of the surgery. And overall, it's really a mixed, complicated feeling not being able to participate in the postseason.
Standing up in the back on the left.
Kind of going off of that, have any of the guys or any of the teammates in the clubhouse given you advice on kind of the flow of the postseason, how things go, especially with that few days off before starting the series?
チームメイトから助言とか、数字に向けての助言とかありましたか。
いや助言は特にはないですかね。まあなんかお前初めてだもんなみたいないじられることはよくありますけど、助言っていう感じではないですかね。
No specific advice. It's just really my teammates know that it's my first time, so they're kind of getting to me about that.
Alden.
Hey, Shohei, when we talked to you in Miami before 50-50, you said that your swing didn't quite feel right yet. What got your swing? What was going on then, and what got you right with your swing?
マイアミで50-50達成する前にちょっとスイングの感覚がしっかりしていなかったっていう話をしていたんですけども、今はまあどうやって改善されたのかと。
まあ後半になるにつれてやっぱりバッティングの感覚もすごい良かったですし、まあ、何よりもこう打席の中での集中力っていうのがすごい高かったと思うので、そういう感覚をしっかりポストシーズンも出せていけたら結果が出てくるんじゃないかなと思ってます。
I think overall the second half of the regular season, if I look back at it, it's been pretty good overall, and just I'm focused on just remembering those good feeling that I have when I'm playing well, and that's the plan is to make sure that I do have those feelings going into the play. this postseason.
Juan, standing up on the left side.
Shohei back here. You've dealt with a lot of like outside expectations and pressures basically your whole life. How have you been able to kind of navigate through that in the past? And how difficult is it to kind of have all those expectations on you?
まあ、人生通して、プレッシャーとか感じながら、プレッシャーがありながらプレーしているところがあったと思うんですけども、それを押しのけてここまでプレーしているっていうのは何か要素とか特別にしているところがありますか？
いや特別にしてることはないですね、好きでここまでやってきてますし、怪我もいろいろありましたけど、その度にチームのスタッフもそうですし、指導してくれた、医師の方もそうですし、そういう周りのサポートに助けられて、今こうやってプレーできてると思うので、そこはもう感謝しかないというか、そこに対して全力でプレーしたいなっていうフィールドで、自分のプレーを全力でやりたいなと思ってます。
I've had challenges in the past, like getting the surgery, and over the years, obviously the doctors, staff, surgeons. I'm very thankful for the people who've supported me over the years, and really I just want to return the favor by making sure that I'm enjoying and focusing on the game.
We'll take two more in English. We'll go to Jesse on the left side.
Shohei, if you wouldn't mind, if you could talk a little bit about what Yu Darvish has meant to Japanese baseball in general, maybe to you, and also if you remember perhaps the first time you met him.
野球界にとって大谷さんにとってダルビッシュさんの存在というのは何でしょうかね。
僕の小さい頃やっぱりスター選手というか、メジャーリーグに来る時もそうです。その前に日本でプレーした時もやっぱりずっと見て、テレビの中で見て憧れてた選手の一人なので、そういう選手と、ポストシーズンでやれるかもしれないっていうのは自分にとってすごく大きいことですし、日本人同士の対決、由伸と投げるのを個人的には望んでましたけど、それは多分ないと思うので、自分が対戦した時に、そこを楽しみに頑張りたいなと思ってます。
Darvish has been my childhood hero. He's somebody that I've seen him play in Japan and obviously in Major League Baseball. And my personal hope was that Darvish would have faced against Yoshinobu. Obviously, that's not going to happen this time around, but I'm very, honored and excited to be able to face him.
We'll come down here in the front.
Shohei, were there any times, especially early in the season, where you found yourself trying to do too much at the plate? And if so, what did you learn from that?
シーズン始まってから少し力みとか感じてたと思うんですけども、それに対してもどう改善していきたい
シーズン当初は早くチームの一員になれるといいなというか、それを結果で示したいなっていうのが気持ち的に先行してたのかなっていうのが今思うとちょっと強いかなと思うので、後半になるにつれてそういう気持ちもちょっとずつ抜けてきて、本当に自分本来の打席っていうのが多くなってきたのかなっていう印象を受けます。
In the beginning of the season, I think I had a very strong desire to fit in with the team as soon as possible, and I think that was kind of leaking into my at-bats. As the season progressed and as we got into the second half, I felt like I had more of my at-bats.
Okay, we're going to shift to Japanese questions. Let's start right down here on the front, on the right.
Eh, 今年残した成績数字っていうのはもう誰が見てもすごいと思うんですけども、数字に現れないことも含めて今年超えられたもの、これができたからこそ今プレーオフに自信を持って臨める、何を超えられたっていうものがありますか？
毎年そうですけど、やっぱり1年間健康を保ってプレーするっていうのが一番難しいというか、何かしらトラブルがシーズン中あるんじゃないかなと思うので、それがDH だけでしたけど、少なかったっていうのが一番良かったことですし、ポストシーズンに、こうして健康な状態で挑めるっていうのがまず一番かなと思います。
それってある意味数字を残すことよりも難しい。
出ないとやっぱ残らないですから、数字も残らないものだと思うので、そこはやっぱり 一番、自分だけではなくてやっぱりその周りのサポートも必要ですし、メディカルスタッフのサポートももちろん必要なことであるので、そこはやっぱり長いシーズン乗り切る上では一番大事なことかなと思います。
We'll stay right here on the right.
さっき山本由伸選手の話もちょっと出ましたけど、山本選手が開幕、このシリーズの開幕で大谷選手も一緒に出て、その日本人2人で戦えるっていうまず先陣を切れるということに関していかがでしょう。
それはやっぱ嬉しいですね。由伸が来てくれたのももちろん嬉しいですし、そのチーム、もちろん怪我も本人もあって悔しいシーズンだったと思いますけど、それでもポストシーズンの1戦目にこうやって先発するというのはそれだけ信頼を得ている証拠だと思うので、自信を持っていいと思いますし、その試合で一緒に出れるっていうのは特別かなと思います。
Standing up on the left.
すみません、共同通信の白石です。先ほどのお話からもやっぱ緊張感なく、楽しみな気持ち伝わってきたんですけども、そのマイナスなことっていうのは頭によぎったりはしないですか。よぎったりした場合にどうされるのかも含めて、マイナスな面って気持ちの面っていうのはどうコントロールされてますか。
今の段階であんまりないですけど、そうなった時に考えればいいかなとは思うので、もちろん打てることもあれば打てないこともありますし、それを次に引きずらないことが一番かなと。特に短期決戦ではチームとしてそれが大事なんじゃないかなと思います。
Stay on the left side.
シーズン最後の囲みで今までの成績っていうのはもうゼロというか確信するというような話がされたんですけども、対パドレス戦のその成績っていうのが今年3割を超えてる、いい数字が残ってるんですけども、その気持ちと一旦確信するというか、そういう気持ちのそのバランスの取り方っていうのは自分の中ではどういうふうにこの短期決戦臨む上で考えてますか。
単純にシーズン中に残した成績っていうのは、それはそれ、だと思うので、別にそのポストシーズンのアドバンテージになるわけでもないですし、もちろんそのシーズン中にパドレス戦で打ったか打たないかちょっと自分では把握しないとわからないですけど、やっぱパドレスは9回の中でも素晴らしいピッチャー陣だと思いますし、なかなか自分の打席を冷静に送るっていうのは難しい相手だとは思いますけど、初めてのポストシーズンでしっかりそれをできれば十分に数字は残るんじゃないかなと思ってます。
Over here, back on the right.
ドジャースは毎年プレーオフ出てますけども、ここ2年ちょっとプレーオフで、思うような結果が出てないで敗退っていうのが続いてるのも、大谷選手もご存知かと思うんですけども、そこを止める、そして世界一になるっていうそこの意気込みといいますか、そこの思いを聞かせてください。
同地区の、さっきも言いましたけど、同地区のライバルが相手なので、なおさらみんなの、士気高いと思いますし、ファンの人ももちろんそうだと思いますけど、僕としては来た1年目で、そういうところでプレーできるっていうのをまず感謝したいなと思ってます。
Okay, we'll take two more standing up on the left.
すみません、よろしくお願いします。先ほど明日に向けて今日の過ごし方が大事というようなお話ありましたけれども、この大一番を前にして大谷選手はどのように過ごされる、いつものシーズン中と同じなのか、いつもよりも早めに就寝されたり、より入念にイメージトレーニングしたりとか、どのように過ごすんでしょうか。
いつもと同じまずケージワークが一番かなと思って、その感覚をまずシーズン中と同じ感覚を出してしっかりと今日終えるっていうのが一番かなと思います。
We'll finish up in the middle in the second round.
すみません。シーズン最終戦の後に、この5日間、5日までの過ごし方で、気持ちを切らさないことが大事っていうふうにおっしゃってたと思うんですけど、バッティング、ライブビビットがすることで、実戦感覚っていうところだと思うんですけど、その野球以外の面で、家では例えばどういうふうに過ごしたとか、全く野球をしない日を1日作ったとか、その野球以外の面でどういう過ごし方をしたのかっていうのをお聞きしたいです。
そうです。いつもよりゆっくりめに起きて、美味しいものを食べて、庭で遊んでっていう感じでしたね。ゆっくり過ごしました。
Okay, thank you, Shohei. Thank you, Will.